Ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. Paramount Global, the parent company of CBS, quietly agreed to pay $16 million to settle a lawsuit brought by President Trump over, get this, deceptively editing a 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. The fake news just wrote a massive check for getting caught. So today we're diving deep into what really happened, why Paramount caved, and what this means for free speech and media manipulation. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Nelly Miranda.
Paramount Global has agreed to settle with President Trump for $16 million after the president sued the company for a 2024 interview with then Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris. The suit alleging the network committed election interference with the editing of the interview. Settlement doesn't include an apology. The money will go to Trump's future presidential library and cover his legal fees. Shares of Paramount Global in the pre-market are higher more than 0.5%. Paramount plans, of course, to merge with Skydance Media.
So let's rewind. During the 2024 election, Kamala Harris sat down for what should have been a softball interview with 60 Minutes. But even with the friendliest of interviewers, Harris still managed to completely fall apart, fumbling and dodging, giving what Trump later called, quote, a horrendous answer, threatening to the integrity of the election. But when the interview aired, something was missing. Key moments were gone. Parts where Harris stumbled on border security, on inflation, on crime, clipped. Just magically vanished.
The work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Well, let's start with this. On this subject, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And I think that is the most recent example of why what we do to assist in their defense around military aid is important. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
President Trump wasn't having none of it. He sued. He claimed that CBS engaged in intentional media fraud designed to prop up Harris's collapsing campaign right before voters headed to the polls. And you know what? He was right. Enter the FCC. To their credit, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr launched a formal news distortion inquiry. He ordered CBS to hand over the raw, unedited footage, and wouldn't you know it, the tapes confirmed it. Yep, CBS did edit out the worst moments, the dodges, the awkward silences, the parts where Kamala Harris completely unraveled. Proof that what was aired was not journalism. It was election interference. Fast forward to today, July 2nd. Paramount Global folds and agrees to pay $16 million. No, the money isn't going directly into Trump's pockets. It's being earmarked for his future presidential library. A presidential library partially funded by CBS. You cannot make this stuff up. So why did they settle? I mean, it's simple. Paramount was desperate to save its $8 billion merger with Skydance. They needed FCC approval, and this lawsuit was a ticking time bomb. They weren't paying Trump. They were paying to protect their business deal. But guess what? The fallout didn't stop there. A string of CBS executives suddenly retired or were quietly pushed out the door. Guilty conscience? Maybe.
We are learning that Paramount and CBS have settled a lawsuit that was brought by President Trump. So we want to bring this to your attention here on Live Now from Fox. This is just breaking within the last couple of minutes. Paramount Global and CBS have agreed today to pay President Donald Trump a sum that could reach north of $30 million to settle the president's election interference lawsuit against the network. President Trump will receive $16 million up front. This will cover legal fees, cost of the case, and contributions to his library or charitable causes to be determined at Trump's discretion. There is an expectation that there will be another allocation in the mid-8 figures set aside for advertisements, public service announcements, or other similar transmissions in support of conservative causes by the network, Fox News Digital has learned. Sources close to the situation told Fox News Digital that CBS has agreed to update its editorial standards to install a mandatory new rule. Going forward, the network will promptly release full unedited transcripts of future presidential candidates' interviews. People involved in the settlement talks have referred to this as the Trump rule. Trump was seeking $20 billion in his lawsuit against CBS over its handling of a 60 Minutes interview last year with then Vice President Kamala Harris, accusing the network of election interference leading up to the 2024 contest. CBS is not acknowledging any journalistic wrongdoing with the settlement.
But here's the real takeaway, folks. If CBS, the so-called gold standard of journalism, was willing to manipulate interviews to prop up a failing candidate, how many other stories are also fake? How many fact checks are really fiction? And how much of what we call news is actually narrative management? And here's the scary part of it all. This wasn't just bad journalism. It wasn't just sloppy editing. This was election interference, plain and simple. And yet, where are the cries from the so-called defenders of democracy? Where are the First Amendment warriors now? That's right. They're too busy banning conservatives on social media, too busy fact-checking memes to actually run an important story like this. This is exactly why independent media matters. If the corporate press is willing to lie to your face to manipulate an election, then the only defense is you. Like, you have to do your own research. Do you think the FCC should go further? Should media outlets face real consequences for manipulating the public, or was this settlement just a slap on the wrist? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like and subscribe, as it really helps support the channel. And tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.